Greetings and welcome to the Medium channel where we bring you the spirituality behind the message and allow you to see spirituality from the eyes of a professional medium. So today we're going to talk about August and all the stuff that's coming up. I'll start out by sharing a little bit of very general astrological, numerological information, and then I'll go right into my forecasts. I don't even want to call them predictions, but I'll go right into my forecasts, and then a few little tips that we can do to stay safe and empowered, because this is a very powerful month for a number of reasons. So hello for the people who are in already. Welcome. And everybody that's watching this as a video, welcome also. So we went into a fair amount of detail on things in my last live stream about the new moon that was on the 28th, right? July 28th. I think that's when the new moon was. So a lot of this is going to overlap, but there's a few different things here and a few things that I put a little bit more focus on that. So I'll pin it to the comments when it becomes a video. Also, the way that you can get the inner teachings of the master teachers and the channeling through Spirit Mind Family. We'll post all of that for you. But let us begin. So August 1st, it's a couple of days ago, just to start out the month, to boom, kickstart the month. We had the great triple alignment. Mars, Uranus, and the North Node were all lined up at 18 degrees of the sign Taurus, and that's significant. Uranus brings a lot of changes. Mars brings a lot of energy. The nodes tend to relate to the structure and how we relate to the world and everything. So that's kicking off the month. So it's also in numerology, it's a 5 universal month. It's actually if you add up the year, which is 2022, which is 6, to the number 8, which is the month, you get 14. So it's a 14 numerological year, and that reduces to 5. That's Mercury ruled. So Mercury is a very major player this month, and Mercury's doing a lot of fun and crazy things also. So I have my notes. That's why I'm looking down. But what's happening is Mercury, I think today even goes into the sign Virgo from the sign Leo, and then later in the month into Libra as it begins to slow down. So with Mercury highlighted, because that's the numerology, so that brings the energy to Mercury into a higher degree of focus and strength. The sign of Virgo tends to make us very detail oriented. It's a very scrutinizing sign, and it relates to our health and well-being. So a lot of our focus and energy is going to go into those areas. So there's going to be an urge to know more of the facts. So there's going to be a lot of digging underneath the surface to try to figure out what's going on in the world, because as we often say, we're subject to a lot of programming. There's a system in this world. Some people call it the cabal or the deep state, but basically all that means is that there's a select few that control the flow of everything on the planet. So very few people benefit while the majority of people suffer. And that's the way it's been set up for a very long time. This is an unsustainable system on this planet. As people awaken more, it's gotta break down. It just has to, because when we awaken, we feel, we open our hearts and we feel what others feel. We understand the bigger picture of things, and as we start to understand that, we realize that there are more fair and just ways of functioning. There's better ways of better methods of government, all that kind of stuff. So the Mercury energy scrutinizes these details in order to affect the big picture. And then Uranus is very much in play also for a variety of reasons. Again, I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but I'll just say that we started out with this great alignment involving Uranus. Then the full moon on the 19th is going to be in the sign Aquarius, which is Uranus ruled, but it's also at the 19-degree point, which is solar ruled. That happens August the 11th. So the full moon, it's a super moon too, which means it's closer to the Earth, which means its effect is more powerful. So the solar ruled degree point in the Uranus ruled sign, it's going to shed light because that's what the sun does. It illuminates. So it's going to shed light on a lot of what's hidden and what's repressed this month. So it's going to activate these revolutionary energies because that's Uranus, and the sign Aquarius is often about revolutionary change. It's about higher mind. It's about community. So a lot of the energy this month, it's really knowing who your community is and who it is that you may need to just break ties with, because there's a lot of awakening that's going to be happening. So I think I explained that all as well as I'm going to be able to at this time. So, just understand again that we're subject to rulership and leadership from a select few that want all the power, that control the money, control everything, and it's unsustainable. And that's what the awakening is. That's what the evolution is about. It's addressing what's unsustainable and making it and upgrading or reforming the systems, as it were, so that it's more functional for the planet, it's more fair for the individual, and it benefits everybody at the end of the day. So it's more spiritual values. This is a real transition into that energy. We've been slowly coming into the cusp of the awakening. We're now entering the heart of it. So that brings us to prediction. Well, I don't know if we'll call this a prediction, but forecast number one. But that is the Lion's Gate portal that we hear a lot about. We've been hearing more and more about that through the years recently. A lot of people think it's some new age stuff, and it is to some degree, admittingly so. But also, there are ancient people that honored this time of the year and honored the Lionsgate portal. And I was I like to read things to get some background information. And one article was talking about like group or tribe in Africa, like ancient Africa, that honored this time of year and work with the lion energy. So it's not new. It's an annual event. What happens basically is a couple of things. One, the star, the fixed star, Sirius, starts to become visible. So starts to come out of the alignment with the sun. Like you can't see stars during the daytime. So um, what's happening is it comes out of the alignment is that the star Sirius appears to trail the sun in the sky now. It's about a 25-degree orb right now away from the sun. So you start to see it in the pre-dawn hour, so it starts to become visible. And then the fall and winter months are the best times to see Orion. It's the brightest star in the sky. I mean, not Orion, Sirius. Orion comes next. The star Sirius. It's 6.5 light years away from Earth. It shines 6 times brighter than the sun. So it's a very close star. It's a very bright star, and it's said to be the spiritual sun, or a counterpart to the central sun. So it's said to be our spiritual sun. So Sirius comes into alignment with Orion's belt with the Earth right around this time of year, and that's said to open a gateway or a portal. These stars, the planets, all have energy, and as the Earth goes into its orbit, its yearly orbit, in August, it comes to this place where the alignment or the energies of Orion, which contains 3 very bright and powerful stars, by the way, in Orion's belt, and then Sirius, which is actually a dual star. There's a white dwarf, and then there's I don't know what the classification, the scientific classification of Sirius is, but it's a very bright star, and it's a powerful energetic portal. So that activates consciousness, that activates the energy. And as that's happening, we also come into 8-8, the numerology of 8, and the sign Leo that rules the heart and rules the sun comes into play. So what's happening this year on the peak of the Lion's portal is that we are in a universal 13-day in numerology, which reduces to 4. That is Uranus ruled. So this is a very powerful Lion's Gate this year for higher consciousness and awakening. And as a result, we're going to see the next couple of months an acceleration of new people having their awakenings. And awakening is awakening to energy and spirit, not necessarily the conspiracies or the governments or that kind of awakening. When we have a true spiritual awakening, our assemblage point shifts, the way we perceive reality shifts, and we start to perceive it from a higher vantage point, where we start to understand, not just intellectually, but on a clear knowing level, that everything really is energy, and that we're part of this energetic field that connects all life and all nature, and that we can affect the field and we can be affected by the field. So when we have our awakening, we start to become aware of this new level of reality. Well, it's new to us because we don't know it. It's not new, but new to us. And more people are going to be having that. So I think I wrote down about the Lionsgate portal. The number 8 is infinity. It's abundance. So it's a good portal for manifestation. It's a good portal for healing, because Leo and the sun is very healing. But again, this rules the heart. So doing your work with your heart, the more you expand and open your heart and connect your heart and your brain, the more immune you become to the programming and all the negativity from the media and the control that they're trying to level on the people. So let me move on from that. By the way, we're going to do a transmission here on YouTube on the eve of the peak of the Lionsgate portal. So that'll be August 7th at 7 p.m. And it's going to be very powerful then. And we're still in the 8/8, because Greenwich Mean Time in East, it's already 8/8 when we're going to be doing this work. And we did some work last night on Spirit Mind Family to prepare our systems to gain the maximum benefits of these upgrades. And then on the 7th, we're going to do more activation work, energy channeling through the master teacher. So I'll leave a link of how to get into Spirit Mind Family. It's a very low cost option in terms of getting some of the inner teaching, to doing the inner work. But we'll always be doing teaching on YouTube. We'll always be doing transmissions here also. So it's just, if you want to dive a little bit deeper and get more out of this work, that would be the place to go. So anyway, I'll leave a link for that. So number 2 that I wrote down is COVID, new diseases in the June, and then the July forecast. It's pretty much the same thing. Now we have monkeypox. Now we have new variants. So I'm feeling like 2 new variants are coming in August. One's already known. It's BA6 it's called now. But I think there's going to be another one. Now, interestingly, in my yearly forecast that I did in December, I talked about a major shift and maybe even an ending of the pandemic. Frankly, between you and me, I think I was being a little bit overly optimistic, what Sharita Starr calls hopium. So I think, but that said, I think there's still going to be a major shift and a major change in the trajectory of this pandemic. New information's coming out. Again, misinformation is going to get more scrutinized. Again, we had that Mercury influence, that in Virgo influence, and it's already starting. We're hearing a lot about resistance to children under 5 years old getting their vaccinations, and there's new whistleblowers coming up. There's people connected with like Johns Hopkins University and other mainstream science and virology, not right-wing new age conspiracy theorists, just to put that out there, scientists that are telling us now that natural immunity is as good or maybe even better than what you get from a vaccine. And these are based on different studies. You have to be careful about studies, because a lot of these studies were funded by Moderna or Pfizer. And we're talking mainly about the mRNA vaccines right now. But this is information that's coming out. And 6 months ago, I could get this video taken down just by saying that and be called this conspiracy theorist. But now, it's not a theory anymore. And, again, there's going to be a lot of conflict. It's still a controversial issue. Some of you may disagree with that. That's fine. It's okay to agree to disagree. But this is what I'm hearing through more reliable sources. There's been whistleblowers. There's been faults in the testing process. Some of the tests on children revealed that the vaccines really did not change the efficacy of their immune responses to the virus. They showed some problems in the vaccines themselves, problems in the testing, and that came out earlier, in the main testing for the initial vaccines, that people that worked in the labs and the facilities came out and said, this isn't being done correctly. They tell us to follow the science, but if the scientific process isn't being followed, how are we supposed to follow the science? And when you run up against a lot of smoke screens and a lot of um excuse me, I need water. It's very hot today, by the way. um that you run in with a lot of censoring in the media, and that certain opinions or takes on certain subjects are basically wiped out of existence, that fosters these conspiracy theories, that fosters the mistrust in the government. It's like, it should be more on the lines like, okay, this group believes this group believes that. Let's have a debate about it. Let's meet out all the facts. Let's talk about this intelligently. Let's talk about it openly so that everybody is understanding, the different possibilities, because maybe we don't know the exact facts. Maybe this is a new virus, and we just don't know everything. But when you start to see a distinct pattern of information being blocked that favors the propagation of vaccinating the entire population, amongst other things, and seems to favor the agendas of the pharmaceutical companies or big business in general, and it seems that the desire for profit is trumping the desire or need to keep people safe, that's when the trouble begins. That's when people get restless. That's when people question authority, and for good reason. So, again, we need the transparency, and we don't have that. So that's why there's a lot of disagreement. That's why a lot of people are arguing about things, because the facts are just not presented to us as they're being presented to the politicians, being presented to the companies that make the vaccines, or whatever. So, expect more whistleblowers and more to come out about the issues with the testing and the misleading information about the efficacy or efficiency, if that's the word, of the vaccines. And somebody very prominent that stepped down, I forgot her name, that stepped down in Pfizer, or no, not Pfizer, from the CDC, actually, I think, or one of the government organizations, was saying that we knew all along that this was not going to be, a perfect solution, and that they were presenting it to the public to be something other than what it really was. And they had some lead information according to those sources, basically. And again, if they were honest, saying, well, this isn't 100% effective, but if you do your vaccines, you'll have these benefits, you'll have these possible risks, and let people decide for themselves, and whatever. And some people have gone so far as to saying, like, all the boosters and everything's actually slowing the progress of the virus down and allowing for these new variants to take hold. And the argument prior was that people that aren't getting vaccinated are the ones that are propagating and prolonging, COVID. But again, what we're seeing in the real world is that the vaccines are less than effective. They're effective to some degree, but not anywhere near what was said. And and possibly, that's actually like exacerbating the problem rather than solving it, especially when it comes to the new variant. Again, we don't know this, but the fact that so much information is held from us, again, we just really are left to speculate. And then that's when these conspiracy theories start to be born, and that's when the programming steps in. And there's programming for people that are right wing, there's other programs for people that are left wing, there's new age programming. No matter what your ideology is, they devise a program to lead you into a rabbit hole and to interfere with your ability to awaken, to understand the facts, and to make your own decisions, and to reclaim your power and to make your own decisions. Of course, when it comes to things like global pandemic, your decisions have to, other people's safety has to weigh in on that. And I'm not telling anybody to not take a vaccine. I don't have enough information for you to make that advice for you. For me, the decision was easy, but that doesn't mean that that applies to you. There's pros and there's cons. Just the problem is the lack of transparency of information, so we can better understand the pros and the cons, um, and so forth. So I think I've beaten that point to the ground. I think we can move on. Yes. All right. So number 3 that I wrote down is underground movements gain steam. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that are trying to assist in bringing information out that's been suppressed by the media and the government. It's bad for their business and all. So I think we're going to get, hear about, more resistance, more organizations, stuff like that. And on a similar note, I'm getting the feeling new spiritual teachers emerging, or maybe spiritual teachers that have been around starting to gain more of a following. So again, I think this is partly that there's a wave of newly awakened people. There's certain people like I just watched a video from Sadhguru recently about his Save the Soil campaign, which I actually predicted that before it happened. Not, I'll pat myself on the back. Not to say that every prediction I've ever made comes out to the letter, but and on that note, and that's getting to the next point, number 5, is more problems around China. I was not even aware of this, but I was listening to my 2022 forecast that I did in December. I said a couple of times, I even predicted a conflict or a war between Russia and Ukraine. I didn't even remember that I said that. So that's another thing that was accurate that I predicted way back in December. But my crowning achievement of the year so far is the Prime Minister stepping down in July. We talked about that in the month of July. A major world leader, either Biden or Prime Minister, somebody prominent that way. It turns out, I think, in different countries, about 7 or 8 different people stepped down. But anyway, not to digress into personal gratification of being right about certain things. But the point being is that the information is out there, and when we open our minds and our hearts, we start to download more intuitive information. So the timelines, they've already happened, and our free will or our choices are what modifies these timelines. So not everything that's predicted has to happen to the letter. We can change our vibration and energy collectively and change some of these outcomes, by the way. So nothing's written in stone. There's no fear, there's no doom and gloom. There's just awareness here. Awareness that the proverbial shit is en route to that first fan blade, and it's getting ready to hit the fan and do its thing or whatever. But again, that does not have to be a bad thing. We have been living under an oppressed, archaic system for way too long. We're naturally awakening as a species. The more we awaken, the more unacceptable the way things have been are going to be moving forward. So more problems around China. We talked about that in June and July, and of course Nancy Pelosi's visit to where did you go, to Taiwan? Was it? Or God, it shows how up I am on mainstream news. Has certainly catalyzed some issues there. So again, again, more conflicts. I think we're going to see the conflicts in Russia and Ukraine deepen, and other countries starting to get involved. And they just flashed Saudi Arabia in my mind. So say not to forget the Middle East and other wars. So that's number 5. Number 6, medical breakthroughs. We've talked about that before. I think we start to get more wind of things that are happening. Scientific medical breakthroughs. They're already there, but they get introduced to the public slowly. So we may find that there's new medicines. The med beds may actually start to get known. These are vibrational devices that we can just lie in bed and have our bodies healed, basically through an artificial but still real influx of energy. I'm always about learn how to do this on your own. Don't rely on the technology. Be grateful it's there if we need it, but don't rely on it, because technology has a way of softening us, and it has a way of taking our power away. We can heal a lot of our illnesses, and we don't even know it, because we're so programmed and indoctrinated to see doctors and take medicines to get relief, rather than apply our minds and our heart and to change our energy field, to change our health, to heal that way. We can do that. So, another thing is that Mars is getting ready to, I think it's in Cancer, the sign Cancer now, but it's gonna, no, not Cancer, the sign Taurus now, but it's gonna be coming to Gemini for 7 months. So again, that's about the duality, and then Mars is going to start to slow down in the end of the month into September, getting ready for its retrograde. Also, with Mercury, it's going to start to slow down at the end of the month also. So expect things like technology to get bogged down. I feel like there's going to be some more solar activity, which would make sense during the Lionsgate energy, which goes right into the Perseids meteor showers. That's another portal, another celestial event that follows that. But more solar activity could mean disruptions in power. I do feel like, especially towards the end of the month, we're going to get some internet blackouts and stuff like that, technology blackouts, that kind of a thing. I don't think it's going to be widespread at this point. And also because Mercury is about moving and Mercury's highlighted this month, I think that's later in the month where we're going to start to see the next wave of food shortages, supply shortages. So again, the other saying, yes, stock up. Just because we've been talking about this for a while and it hasn't happened to quite the degree that honestly I thought it may have happened by this time. Doesn't mean to let your guard down, sort of the message around that. So the other thing they were talking about was like the whole social credit score thing in the metaverse. They were going to see more of these kind of propaganda things about, oh yes, the metaverse, we can really meet even though it's virtual. But we do need to get interface. We do need to be wired to technology. We do need to have these certain social credit scores or passports in order to go into certain areas of the metaverse and all that stuff. And from what I've been hearing, it's I'll call this unsubstantiated news that I've been hearing, that the U.S. has been actually kind of behind the scenes looking at China's social credit score system and kind of emulating that a little bit. Again, I don't know how real that is or not, but these are fairly reliable sources. So point being is that I think as the month goes on, we're going to start to see the propaganda, the commercials on TV about the new metaverse and what an amazing, great thing it is. But then, of course, there's always going to be a caveat like, but you need to do this and you need to be this way. You need to fall in line and you've signed your release forms and do this, that, and the other thing. And maybe we'll let you in, maybe we'll not. So anyway, but the long and the short of it is getting back to Mercury that things probably after the 15th now are going to bog down. Now we had this very powerful full moon on the 11th, and I talked about that at the beginning. Something else is going on. I think Saturn it's going to be Saturn's going to be conjuncting this full moon also. So Uranus and Saturn come into play with that, and again, that's just one of these markers. Uranus can also disrupt things on the planet as far as like natural disasters, earthquakes, floods, fires, heat waves, all the stuff I've been talking about that's been coming to pass. So expect more weather related issues. Anyway, that's kind of the gist of it. I didn't want to make this too long. So as far as a few things to do for yourself, I mean, I didn't even write this down, but they're showing me food, so I feel like they're saying, be aware of your diet. That as the energies continue to increase, it affects our nervous systems, our bodies, our physical as well as our spiritual functions. So be mindful of what you're putting into your body. That you want to maybe drink more water and eat foods that support positive growth of your cells and the positive functioning of the body, rather than chemicals and all the crap that's out there that really interfere with our body. So this is, if you're thinking about healthier diet, this is the month to put that into practice. Double down on all your spiritual practices, especially presence. Every time you think about it, stop your thoughts, observe your breath, your body, and be neutral. Be in that observer mode rather than in your head and thinking. We habitually think 60 to 65,000 thoughts per day, according to psychologists. What we want to do is learn how to be present in the moment and shut off the thinking mind. And that opens up the awareness So as we shut off the thinking mind, which is a minute portion, maybe 5% of the brain, we start to open that other 95% of the brain. And that's how we connect to spirit. That's how we know who we are as spirit. That's how we connect with our guides, our angels, our loved ones, and how we connect with energy. So double down on that, and also work with the heart. We talk a lot about heart-brain coherence. Any form of heart expansion works. This is just a very simple, beautiful practice where you sit with gratitude and appreciation in a magnified level in your heart. Start out by being grateful for the present moment. So that's where the present and heart-brain coherence meet. Right now, I can just say, I'm so grateful for this present moment. It's perfect, just the way it is. Nothing, I don't want to change anything. This is perfect, this present moment. And start with that and feel the gratitude and appreciation, compassion in your heart. And as that expands, your brain kicks in, and that's why they become coherent. Your heart becomes coherent in gratitude, your brainwave patterns become coherent, and then you access more of your brain. And through that, you access more of spirit, you access more of universal intelligence, and you can incorporate that into your day-to-day life. So the idea is incorporating spirit into your day-to-day life. So get grounded also. Go out into nature a lot. Do your lines pose. This is a good time for purging. What's lines pose? You sit kind of like on all fours. So I can't really show you with this setup, but I'm kind of sitting in what's called Zen pose, or with my knees on the ground. You can do this cross-legged also. And my hands are on the floor, and as I inhale, I take the air in. As I exhale, I take my tongue way out and go, ah! On the exhale. And I almost imagine I'm vomiting negative energy. So inhale, ah! And you can, with that, release frustration, anger, other people's energy. So do that. And heart waves and body waves, what are that? Basically, inhale, feel your heart expand on the inhale. Exhale, feel your heart gently contract. So it makes gentle waves, and that clears obstruction, energetic obstruction, and allow energy to flow smoothly through the heart. When we're in a lot of fear, and most talking about the Americans now, but I think this is global. 60 to 70% of the day, the average American is in stress hormones. When you're in stress, you're cut off from the heart. So when you do your heart waves, you start to move energy through the heart. You start to move that stress energy out of the heart chakra. You clear that, and then you again become more coherent of heart, more coherent of mind, more coherent of spirit. The idea is we want to clear all of this obstructed energies, whether it's your childhood programming, whether it's the social conditioning, whether it's the media type programming, all the rabbit holes, the deep state, or whatever you want to call them, efforts to thwart the awakening so you can remain under their control rather than coming into your own power and following your own life and following your own spiritual path. And the last thing, and you can do body waves also. So, as you expand, feel your whole aura and body, gently expand with the inhale, gently contract with the exhale. Again, you make waves, you stay present. That moves energy through the body. That clears the cogged energies. And you may find over time that you start to heal diseases, because disease is usually a result of inflammation. Inflammation is usually a result of energetic obstruction somewhere in your energy field that translates into your physical body. So last but not least, feel the flow. The flow, or energy, or spirit, or God, or whatever you want to call it, wants to heal you. It wants to flow through you and clear all the stuff. So if you can get into a state where you just allow it to happen, you don't have to do anything else. You can allow the flow to do everything for you. But of course, we're deeply programmed to resist that. Most people do not even feel the flow. Chi, prana, the force, whatever you want to call it, energy's always moving through it. Energy's always moving through everything. From the electrons in our body, the 100 trillion electrons in our body that move at 1/100th the speed of light. Like an electron can circle the globe in 7 seconds. That's how much energy you have flowing through your body right now, in every moment, even when you're sleeping. when you start to tune in, you start to feel that the energy in your body is connected to the energy all around you, and that the energy is constantly flowing through you. You're constantly exchanging energy with the universe. If you can get so present and so open and clear enough of the crap, that we all have, the energetic weight from our lives, from our programming, whatever, and nature will help this. If you do this out in nature, it's stronger, because there's always a flow between the trees, the air, the water. There's always a flow of energy that's happening. So if you can sit out, just clear your mind enough and constantly feel the energy flowing through you, and just allow, the more you do it, the stronger it'll get, because you'll be more in sync with it. And when you get in sync with it, with your mind, you can actually increase it and decrease it. The thing is, the reason most people don't do this or can't do this is usually one of the first experiences that you get when you start to open up to energies, anxiety, or things that are uncomfortable. So we have to be okay with discomfort. You have to understand that our subconscious mind, that's here to help us survive, resists change, because the way the subconscious works, it's a threat to survival. So we have a natural resistance to change, and we're so used to being bogged down with all these energetic blockages. And when we start to release it, the subconscious mind is like, whoa, hold on there, buddy. We don't like this. You're killing us. We're going to stop you. So you have to, be okay with feeling like uncomfortable feelings. But over time, it's going to fade. But the idea is just constantly feel energy flowing through you. Know that this energy is seeking to clear these blockages, is seeking to heal you. Spirit or God or whatever you want to call it, the one that created you wants to take care of you, wants you to be healthy. It's our detachment from who we truly are, and our detachment from spirit that is the foundation that disease is built upon. So this is going to help. Again, it's not going to happen overnight, because that's just the nature of things. But learn to feel the flow, and then learn to cultivate the flow, and that's how you're going to awaken. That's how you're going to heal. That's how you're going to discover what your true life calling is, what your path is. Make August the month. Use the Lionsgate portal, that energetic boost that we're getting from the cosmos, that we get every year, to be the catalyst to start on that process. That's what I have for you. So hopefully I made some sense. And thanks for your comments. I'm sorry that I'm not reading them, but anyway, thank you for your comments. And I'm going to end now, because this is already probably twice as long as I want, like usual. The master teachers always say that I talk a lot, but maybe I have a lot to say. I don't know, or maybe what it is I have Mercury in Virgo, and I'm constantly always trying to over explain things, and I want to make sure every single person understands that. Of course, the Libra balance part of myself is like, well, that's impossible, so don't even try. But anyway, these are some of my programmings and issues that I'm using the flow to work on clearing and everything. So again, the 7th, let me actually, before we end, I want to just, in case you want to go to this video, that was the new moon forecast. In case you want to go to this one next, I wanted to flash this for the live people. And that has a couple of different exercises and a couple of different facets. It overlaps, but it's different at the same time. So you want to go to that. That's there. The 7th, we're going to do the transmission. For those of you that haven't worked with the master teachers, they blend with my energy. They use my language, my experiences, and all of that to communicate information to you. So that's how I channel. It's not trance work so much. I mean, I'm in a light trance, but we kind of blend. So and I feel like they're always blending with me to greater or lesser degree anyway. So but it's an energetic channel, and if you're able to lock into the meditation, they're able to affect your energy fields, and basically give you some assistance in clearing things and upgrading. I mean, they're not going to do the work for you, but they're going to assist you in the work by increasing your frequencies and allowing you to work that way. So it's a very powerful form of channeling. Not too many people do it. So we're going to do that on the 7th right here on the channel at 7 p.m. And if you're in on Spirit Mind Family, that's my Patreon group. Go to the meditation, the channeling we did last night. That's the prep work. If you're not part of it and you want more information, I'm going to leave that on the pinned comments, because we have a lot of things that we cover there that we go into more detail than what we do here on the channel. And we do live events every month where we can have uncensored conversation and really talk about things and really work together as a community to help one another, on a forum where the censorship isn't, as much of a problem. All right. Now I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye. See you next time. I love you.